สนับสนุนโดยบริษัท IRPC จำกัดมหาชนการบินไทยรักคุณเท่าฟ้า
ครับขอต้อนรับเข้าสู่รายการ Business Talk ทางกรุงเทพธุรกิจทีวีนะคือค่ำคืนนี้ผมมีแขกรับเชิญนะครับผู้เชี่ยวชาญทางด้าน Business Analytics จากบริษัท EMC Greenplum นะครับเรื่องของ Business Analytics ตอนนี้เป็นเรื่องใหญ่ครับในแวดวงธุรกิจในแวดวง IT เนื่องจากว่าในยุคดิจิทัลนี่นะครับโลกเรานี่มีข้อมูลมหาศาลเลยครับมี Data มากมายเพิ่มขึ้นเป็นหลายร้อยเท่าหลายพันเท่าจากในอดีตนะครับเปิดโอกาสให้ธุรกิจต่างๆจะสามารถเพิ่มความสามารถในการแข่งขันถ้ามีเครื่องมือมีซอฟต์แวร์ที่จะมาวิเคราะห์เจาะลึกข้อมูลข่าวสารต่างๆเหล่านั้นนะครับเพื่อจะเพิ่มความสามารถในการแข่งขันถ้าวิเคราะห์กันได้แบบเรียลไทม์นะครับวิเคราะห์กันได้แบบเวลาที่เป็นจริงอย่างนั้นปุ๊บก็จะมีประโยชน์ต่อธุรกิจไม่ว่าเป็นเรื่องของธนาคารการบริการทางการเงินธุรกิจโทรคมนาคมนะครับธุรกิจค้าปลีกหรือแม้แต่เรื่องของมีเดียนะครับสื่อสารมวลชนต่างๆก็จะได้รับประโยชน์จากเรื่องของเทคโนโลยีใหม่วันนี้นะครับก็ Welcome to the program คุณ Cheif Illingworth the Chief Technology Officer of the EMC Greenplum Steve, can you explain to us how important is business analytics to today in today's business world?
I think it's being realized in Asia, in the world, and in Thailand for years that analyzing your data is a good thing to do.
Yes.
The problem is that if you take all data from the caveman days up until the iPad, all the data that we generated was about 5 exabytes. Don't worry about what an exabyte is. Just keep the number, 5.
5.
We now generate 5 exabytes in less than a year. So for thousands of years, we generated 5 exabytes. Now we generate the same volume of data in 1 year.
Just 1 year compared to thousands of years in the ancient time in the history.
All the way up till the iPad. That's pretty recent. But now we're generating much more data. How do you analyze that?
So we are overwhelmed on one hand by the huge amount of data, the unprecedented amount of data. But you are saying that we can make use of it. How to do that?
We can, and I suspect everybody in the audience would recognize that they have the ability to do it because they're storing the data. They're just not analyzing at the moment because they perceive it's very difficult.
Can you give us an example how that such a huge amount of data is being analyzed for business purpose?
Everything has become electronic.
Yes.
Whether it's newspapers that have gone digital, whether it's putting information on the web, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or social networking sites, whether it's TV channels that are now broadcast over the internet to iPhones and Android devices. Every time you make a cell phone call, every time you send an SMS, you're generating a lot of data. They've got to know how to bill you. They've got to know how long you were on the call and who you called. ATM transactions, they've got to know which machine, how much you withdrew, deducted. It's all electronic data. And every time you walk around with your cell phone, it's connecting to what we call base stations. It's connecting to an aerial somewhere. Where should we put those base stations? Are we short anywhere? What's the usage of those base stations? This is all data that's coming at us. And it's changing constantly. New ideas are coming up. In the US at the moment, there's a small company that started up that can actually in your body, put an extremely small device now which can monitor, are you taking your medicines? If you're, for instance, a diabetic,
yes.
Are you taking your medicines? Are you taking the right quantity? What is your sugar level?
Yes.
Then it connects to your mobile phone that can send the data to a healthcare provider, more data.
Yeah.
Right?
To the doctors, for example, right? So help you monitor how you manage yourself about this illness, for example.
Exactly. You can even buy running shoes now from Nike that have microprocessors embedded in them that measure the distance that you run, the speed that you run at. It connects to a watch that is a mobile device, and you can download the data to your laptop. You can upload it to Nike, and they get the vision of what everybody is doing with their shoes. They could use that for marketing purposes. All new ideas are coming out. Every day I read about new ideas.
Yeah. What about examples in the media industry? How huge amount of data are being used?
Okay, so let's look at an example there of how data changed business.
Yes.
Just about everybody in the world has at one time or another seen a movie.
Yes.
So the movie studios, the most important number to those guys when they're going to release a film is how much money will we make in the US on the first weekend. And the old way of doing it was they would hire 500 call center operators to phone everybody in the US and say, what do you think about the movie? What is it about? Are you going to go see it? Are your friends going to go see it? And if they think they're getting the wrong audience, maybe they say, what do you think the movie's about? And I say, it's a love story. But it's not. It's a war story.
Yes.
I need to change the marketing. So that was the old way of doing it. And
now,
not a good measure. Now, very different. Next time you go to the movies, have a look at the trailers.
Yes.
This is the advertising of the upcoming films, and at the end you will always see they have their own website.
Yes.
AvengersMovie.com, and they encourage you to go to the website. They analyze Twitter and Facebook feeds for any mention of Avengers the movie, and then they collect all of that data together and use it to change their marketing and also to forecast that first weekend number. They forecast the Avengers movie with 96% accuracy with no call center operators. It was pure technology in real time that allowed them to adapt the marketing. And remember, if it's a hit in the US, it's a hit worldwide. So it's an important number. And if you think of the next aspect, if they can forecast every movie accurately, then the movie studio can go to the distributors and say, I have a huge hit. I want more movies to play this, more theatres to play my movie. So it's going to change the way that the business works. The distributors now want more accurate forecasting, and they're going to measure the accuracy. They might believe you the first time you get it wrong, but not the second and not the third time. So getting accurate information, doing it cheaper, and using technology should be of interest to any business.
So I got a book saying that information is now the new oil. That show how important information is in today's world. You share that opinion?
Yeah, I do share that opinion. I've spent 25 years doing analytics on data. I think at the moment we're in a sea change on what's happening. So the old way was to build something we call a data warehouse, put all of the data in there, and then analyze that data. The trouble is the data's just growing in volume, the amount of data, in variety. We have weblogs, call data records, we have all this Twitter and social networking data. The variety is changing, the volume's growing, and the velocity, the speed that it comes at us. We can't keep putting this into a data warehouse. So we know that organizations are storing it. A bank does not throw data away, right? They do not. They may need it in the future. Their problem is how do I analyze it? And it's not reporting what happened last week. It's not saying in how many branches did we open new accounts and how many new accounts and who opened them. It's now forecasting. It's saying, where do I need new ATM machines? Where do I need new branch offices? Where do I need base stations for a telco? It's changing the way that people do business, but they've got to be able to analyze all the data, not just what's in a data warehouse.
Could Steve, next year Thailand is going to have the first 3G third generation network, and later on the fourth generation network here in Thailand. So how this is going to reshape the Thai economy and how the digital technology will impact businesses, in your opinion?
It's going to get interesting in a number of areas, and if we were going to discuss it in depth, we would need a few years rather than a few minutes.
Yes.
But start to think about things like this. Telcos now, I live in Singapore and have done for 8 years. I travel extensively in Southeast Asia.
Yes.
So start to think about what predominantly happens. Number one, a lot of overseas foreign workers. In Singapore, we have a lot of Indonesian maids, Filipino maids, the construction workers, etc. What do? They transfer money back home.
Yes. By the traditional banking method.
They cannot have a bank account because they're not resident in Singapore.
I see.
So what are the telcos doing? Transferring the money for them. So the telcos are getting into banking. Retailers are now starting to hook up with telcos.
Yes.
So this is going across industry. It's not, you're not isolated in one industry. If you learn how to leverage partners, if you learn how to do new ways of business, you will adapt and change significantly over the next few years.
So telecom and retail operators will work together, will share data. What can they do to make use of the huge data you are talking about, for example?
That's a good point. So you're saying that 3G, 4G networks are coming.
Yes.
So the telco operator, your cell phone, while ever it's switched on, is connected. And they know, even without location services. You don't need location services switched on. That is connected right to a base station now.
Yes.
And if you make a call, that base station will put it onto the network.
They know where I am.
They know where you are. And they know within a couple of hundred yards where you are. They also know all about you.
Yes.
Right? So they can get demographic data, not just your name, but your sex, your age. Do you have a mortgage? Do you have a car loan? How many kids you've... So they have a lot of demographic data. So now take a retailer who's selling men's clothes. And I, as the telco, approach the retailer and say, your next marketing campaign, who are you aiming at? And he would say, single males 18 to 25 year old. I have some new jeans coming out. That's my target. Say, okay, I can tell you that I have 1,500 people walking every hour within 100 yards of your store. Do you want to market to those guys directly? And it's your exact target. It's 15 to 25 year old males who are single. I guarantee that. And what we'll do is when they're within 100 yards of the store, we'll give them a 15% discount if they buy in the next half hour.
I see. So
would you be interested?
So you're talking about, in the case of Thailand, maybe AIS, DTAC, or two, which are the big telcos, and retail maybe the central or the mall group. And nearby we have big central Bang Na shopping complex, and they use the telco service. So in the case of Thailand, they can work together and do the what you call, what kind of digital marketing?
Digital marketing. It's the problem, right? Here's the problem. The problem is the big telcos here could have 15 million customers.
Yes.
They have to keep track of you in real time.
Yes.
All 15 million. They don't know who's going to walk very close to a particular retailer in Central Mall. So they have to keep track of you in real time and also be able to send you an SMS. They also have to know, are you the right demographic?
Yes.
So out of the 15 million customers, there may be only 1 million who are our target.
The profiles.
The profile. So in real time, as you're moving around, and this is what we mean by volume of data and the velocity, the speed you have to do things. But this is the type of thing that innovative retailers are looking at right now.
So we'll take a stop here, take a break here, and we'll come back with more on how the new technology like data analytics and 3G network will work together to boost the competitiveness.